As a first-time bodybuilding competitor at age 50, the author in this Listen to Others conversation lives the title of her book, Just Do Your Dream, a 7-step guide to help you do what you always wanted.
Get your mind, set around fulfilling your dreams and goals. I mean, you begin to sit up taller, walk with your head held high because you did something that for years you thought you couldn't do.
So I'm talking with Montrie Rucker Adams, and with full disclosure, she and I were just in Italy together. And that brings me to the point that traveling, especially to Italy, is one of your longtime goals, a dream.
Oh, yes. And what's interesting is that one of the individuals that I interviewed, his goal was to visit the Shroud of Turin, right? And I thought, wow, that's amazing. We didn't get to see the Shroud of Turin, but just visiting Italy, we had not, traveled overseas in a long time, since our children were born. So it had been a while. The road is not necessarily going to be easy, and it doesn't have to be external. Sometimes it can be internal, as I'll read here. Have you ever done something and decided, for whatever reason, that you didn't want to do it anymore? Well, I wanted to stop training. Why? Because I was tired. I ached all over. I didn't feel like working so hard. I knew I wasn't going to place in the competition anyway. I had something better to do. I was afraid. Now, had I not had that wonderful circle around me, people like my coach who had competed for 8 years telling me to stay the course, I would have quit. And that's another testament to having a village, to having a support system. Everyone has someone encouraging them, rooting for them. I call them accountability buddies in the book, okay? And in the process, I came up with 259 videos to help people along their journey. They're short, quick videos. On justdoyourdream.com. You will see the people that were interviewed, other videos, and a link to find the videos. You need people on your team who are going to help push you forward.
I'm going to mention one particular story in just a moment, but would you run through the 7 F's for everyone listening? Talk about the 7 F's that you outline in your book, Just Do Your Dream.
Absolutely. So we'll start with the 3 F's that hinder or prevent people from going toward their dream. We talked about number 1, fear. Number 2, family. And I added friends and foes. And then there's finances, because oftentimes it may take money in order for you to realize your dream. You might have to take a class. You might have to, travel, whatever it is. Finances may be a hindrance. There are 4 F's that propel you forward, and it's faith. Number 1, you have to have faith. 2, focus. The 3rd is fortitude, and the last one is forgiveness. And we talked about forgiveness, and this is forgiving yourself. For any time that you fail, get right back up and forgive yourself for those failures along the way, and just keep it moving.
I do enjoy reading books that are organized as yours is, where you give tools to easily remember the 7 F's. With Janine Cato's story, the last story in the book, I see it as transformation. This book can lead to transformation and possibly a welcomed transformation in the lives of people.
Because if you've lived your life believing that you cannot do something, realizing that dream, knowing that you can, it's total transformation. And not only does it transform your life in that way, But anything else that comes across your path, it's like, I can do that. That's not going to derail me. I can move forward with that. That is, I always say, I got up on that stage and I did, and I trained for a bodybuilding contest. I can do that. That's easy. The larger, the bigger the challenge that you've overcome, the more transformative it is.
You talk about the 7-step guide to help you do what you always wanted. And you did mention family earlier. And sometimes family can be an obstacle, but in your case, specifically your mother, she was a supporter, and you've dedicated your book to your mother. So would you speak her name and talk about how she influenced and put you on the path?
Yes, my mother is Denotra Pruitt Rucker. And she passed away before the book was published. She passed away July 2014. And all my life, she put me on the path because she's always encouraged me. My mother was a school teacher. She graduated from an HBCU. And for those of you who may not know what that means, it's a historically Black college and university, Central State University. And she was always encouraging me to do whatever it was I wanted to do. It was never, well, you can't do that. Let's not even think about that. I was the child who took every lesson imaginable. For me, whatever it is that I wanted to do, I never hesitated, right? Generally. That was as a child, but as I got older, some things, life, other influences jumped in, right? And so that became an opportunity, or a stalling point. It wasn't because of anything other than my internal roadblocks. Mm-hmm. So for some people, I talk about Sandy's husband totally derailed everything she wanted to do. Sometimes family can just be dream killers. We love them. They love us, and oftentimes it's a finger pointing back at them because they may not have realized their dreams, right? Or they just may be cautious and they're looking out for you because they know the time, the effort, the energy, the disappointments that may come, and they could be protecting you from you doing your dream, because they may look at it like, oh, or there's a lot of work she's put in, and those types of thoughts are going through their mind, but it also comes out as, I don't think that's a good idea. That's why I encourage people, you got to do this. You got to do it. And you may set out and it takes you a little bit longer. Even for the book, I said, I can do this in 6 months. It took about 4 years. It took 4 years, So just keep that dream in the forefront. One of the F's, of course, is focus. Keep your eyes on the prize.
I read primarily nonfiction, and I love the stories about people. As I was reading this, traveling from Italy to Paris, I felt that I was a passenger in the lives of the people that you put in your book. Just do your dream.
This book was something I came up with after the bodybuilding contest. It wasn't even something that I had longed to write. It happened because of the bodybuilding contest.
Thank you for that. And thank you for the interview, the time you've given. And really, thank you for the genius of the idea.
You're welcome. Thank you.